Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here's your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience episode number 512.
Thank you for joining us for Black Entrepreneur Experience. This is where we shine the light on the most successful Black entrepreneurs in the world. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. I am so humbly honored to have Tameko Rowe, founder of Cocoa Butter Mothers, a company that offers self-care products made from sustainable organic ingredients, some of which comes directly from Tameko's own yard. Welcome, Tameko, to Black Entrepreneur Experience.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have given a very brief bio about you and your company. Why don't you fill in the blanks and share with our audience what you would like them to know about you and your company?
Well, I loved your bio. I think it's pretty accurate. Again, I'm Tameko, and I'm the creatrix and creator of Cocoa Butter Mothers, which is my in-home apothecary-style small batch produced product line. And with and through my product line, I advocate for radical self-care and shamelessly promote holistic wellness. I'm also co-founder of the Mystic Moon Collective, which is a Black woman-owned holistic health and wellness group based out of Washington, D.C. I'm also an herbalist and a holistic full-spectrum doula. And I also drive Uber and Lyft because I can never get enough of working for myself.
Absolutely. Now, Tameko, tell us, how did you decide this was the business for you, the Cocoa Butter Mothers? And what was that aha moment that you knew it was going to be successful?
Well, for me, I've always known with deep certainty that I am supposed to be an entrepreneur. I am supposed to own my own business or businesses. And I've held that inside ever since I've been a little girl. I've never had too many other doubts or other things in mind other than how can I get there? So even before I knew exactly how, what, when, where, why, and just all of the ways of what this business even would be or what it looked like, I just simply knew that it was something that I needed to do. So basically, as I've gotten older and life is happening, Cocoa Butter Mother's inception has been really very organic and really took hold when I kind of reached a place in my personal life. I had already turned 30 and I felt accomplished as an adult. I bought my house and, all these things. And I finally felt ready to invest in myself and pursue my dream, my lifelong dream, basically. And I had done all the research, which includes education, real world experience, lifetime goal and preparation for pursuing my dream. I'd done all this meticulous budgeting and saving to give myself a stepping stone with startup money. And, I was ready to jump out and try investing in myself and investing in my future and tackling a goal and a passion. And so Cocoa Butter Mothers came together in like concept and form when I literally had to ask myself, okay, you do want to make this business real. And what does it look like now? Now you have to answer these formerly not known hows, whens, what's, where's, and whys. And so I wrote down a list to myself and said, what is my passion? What are my passions? What am I good at? How can I merge these things into establishing and building and creating a successful business for myself? It's important to me to have wanted to start it out with I love and not just be trying to mindlessly create wealth for myself without it fulfilling me. And so I went through this list and we're looking at pros and cons and notes to myself and working through it all. And finally the light bulb clicked on, and it was just like the light bulb was essential to illuminating what had always basically been there as far as my passion. It was the time to pursue it. I think I'm really blessed and lucky in that way. Everybody on this journey can't say that they've just always wanted to be a business owner. Maybe that's something that clicks later in life, but I really think that that is the fuel to my fire,
And you said something very profound, Tameko, and you're so right. A lot of us would love to had discovered at a very young age our passion. And you knowing at a very young age that you wanted to be an entrepreneur. And that was the journey. The question I have for you, did you take us on that journey? Did you actually go and work a job, or did you start out just doing a business right off the bat?
Well, I can replay it in my brain thinking more so of being business minded, being business savvy, especially in my youth where I wasn't necessarily thinking of actually forming a business, more like educating myself on the concepts, what type of schooling is necessary, but also simultaneously trying little ways to flex my creativity, creating things, whether that be fun outfits. I've made myself wigs. I've always had creative streak and always have wanted to procure financial freedom for myself. I think it's important. I've always been pretty tuned into that feeling as well. And so coming up and being a teenager and learning how to barter and swap and wanting to go sell and resell consignment things and fun finds and evolving into the internet age where you can sell and have e-commerce with people easily via Craigslist and eBay and things of that nature. So I actually took a more traditional path coming up as far as like schooling and going to college and really trying that out and really kind of going back and forth with that and knowing that it's not quite fitting. You know, I'm not deeply fulfilling myself and just kind of evolving and using my real life examples and my work experience and my schooling to kind of hone myself and prepare for actually saying, okay, now I've done all this stuff for with and for others. Now it's time to invest in my business. I feel like I've had the mindset of business savvy person and an entrepreneur, but literally took on the title when I started Cocoa Butter Mothers.
So, how do you define success? What does that look like for you, and how long did it take, Tameko, for it to manifest in your life?
I really like this question. I think it allows for some, I think it's a personal question. I think that success should be and is generally measured from person to person because my definition, I don't think should encompass everyone else's stance. So with that being said, I would define success as basically a personal measure or like a metaphorical ruler, if you will, a personal measure of one's ability to successfully create and follow accessible pathways and open doors that allow for consistent meeting of needs and wants. Success is not necessarily financial. It doesn't have to be based or rooted in money or currency of any kind. Success for me is knowing that like I'm meeting and achieving my goals and also setting higher and newer ones repeatedly over and over again. I feel very confident that my work is meaningful and it's also the means in which I support myself financially. I take it very seriously and I see the results of that every day. I don't feel like it's something that just appeared out of the blue. I feel like it's encompassed in the very like realm in which I work as far as holistic wellness and honoring that it's daily work required to find what your definition or define rather and really build out what you think your success should look like. On a personal and deeper level, I really believe that success is also your happiness and your contentment with knowing that you've done not even all, but the very best work that you can do to be exactly where you want to be. And again, that doesn't have to be one particular looking thing or one particular looking way. And I just really feel lucky enough to be blessed with a wealth of both of those things, happiness and contentment. It plays a large role into how I personally define my own success in moving ahead and building my brand and relating that and back into business.
So, what is a daily or weekly habit, Tameko, that you do consistently that has given you the greatest success?
I firmly believe in having a dedicated sister circle. And by that, I just mean a tight and close-knit bond with women. So for me, routine check-ins on the phone or via some type of media of some sort, or actually visiting with and having actual physical time spent with my close and dear, like women's circle. And that's inclusive of friends and family. Having a close-knit support system makes hard days and hard times easier to approach in all ways, including personal and professionally, spanning the scope from the business side of things to just the life side of things. I think that having these type of bonds and having these type of relationships really give me levels of support and counsel, insight, education, just basically whatever it is that I need to do and feel better. And I just believe that all of that is essential with help keeping me fresh, help keeping me productive, help keeping me sane and grounded, and just using the community mindset of learning from each other and sharing information and helping each other heal and keeping fortified and on pace to keep moving forward. All of those things are relevant when you show up for yourself and with yourself to move ahead in business, but also just in life itself. So I absolutely contribute a large bunch of success to being able to have beautiful and wonderful mirrors and sounding boards around me represent all of the ways that I show up in the world.
You know, at the top of the podcast, you talked about your schedule and the various businesses that you're involved in. And then you just talked about your circle of influence, your sphere of influence, your sister groups. How do you balance that? Is it balance? Is it marrying? Is it blending? Whichever terminology best works for you, your personal life, your family life, and your business life.
I love this question, Dr. Richards, because it's like, it's always kind of like, I don't know, but I just do my best. And that's the real gut reaction. I just try to find the best way to make it work and fit it in. And so, opposite end of the spectrum, I often don't feel challenged or have much of an issue staying grounded or like rooted in my normal routines or like keeping up with the functional, social, personal, and business life. People are hardy and we are built to adapt and evolve and roll with things. And that's like really very awesome when it comes to taking on entrepreneurship and merging it and blending it and trying to make it seamless with your life as it is and as it was. And again, referencing what I just said about having a really awesome support system, that's not always a privilege that people are allowed. And so I understand and recognize the importance of it because I have a consistency all around me. So it never seems too hard to come back to the comfortable safe haven of long-term loved ones and friends and family. And, just I'm not cocoa butter mothers to the people that I know and love. I am Tameko and it's normal. And so I think that's healing and humbling and it keeps me focused on my goals within the business realm. And it is very, very true that in business, you have to understand and accept that you will have to be making the hard choices sometimes between being at one place versus the other and participating in this event versus the other or not participating at all because you have to set your parameters about how serious you're going to take it. And so even there and even in those times, I believe that I purposely try to do my best to find the balance. And I'm perfectly and completely at peace with missing the girls' night out to hang out with my mom or even vice versa, because sometimes you have to believe in the power of saying no and knowing when and how you energetically and physically engage with others. And sometimes I need healing with my girlfriends versus sitting with my mom. And you've got to just make time and carve out space for yourself and take time to define what your self-care looks like and apply it in your day in some way. And try to aim to do that each day. It always doesn't have to be grand gestures. Simply honoring your body's need or calling out for food and rest or a shower, drink some tea, get your nails done, do some meditation, do some yoga, book exotic vacations, whatever it is. You define what your self-care and what, managing your task list looks like. And I think that it's absolutely possible to secure a well-balanced approach to doing all of the things that you want to do. There's 24 hours in a day for all of us, and there's examples aplenty of successful people and what you think that looks like, and take notes, study these people, tune in. What are they doing? How are they working to make sure that they fit in what looks like a well-balanced and well-measured approach to maintaining yourself as a whole human and honoring your friends and family and need to socialize and take a break and step back, but also too, taking your business seriously and putting forth the effort that requires.
So, Tameko, tell us, what is one valuable lesson you wish you knew before starting your business?
Oh gosh. Just only one? I don't know off top what I would say. One valuable lesson. I guess I should keep this simple. You got to chill. You have to chill. You have to relax. And to kind of further flesh that out, I really mean it's okay to not underthink or overthink every single thing. Sometimes you have to put in a little effort. Sometimes you can actually scale back. So take your time and relax and absolutely trust yourself, trust your intuition, trust your vision and creativity. Essentially, always. It should be what is your driving force behind whatever business that you're trying to procure and make take root. One more thing, I always think that you should bring it back to your self-care and definitely don't ignore yourself. You need to be nourished and be mindful because it could really lead to a point of burnout, loss of inspiration, and unwillingness to keep pushing. Those are definitely lessons that I wish that I had equipped in my toolbox before actually starting.
And so, who would you say are your top two influencers in your life, and what lessons do they teach you?
This is such a wonderful question and a very hard, a hard question. There's no short list. Since undertaking this journey, I've met so many wonderful, amazing people, and particularly Black women business owners. My stockists, for example, are Black businesswoman owners. They're great. But person one, I always and forever will honor my mama as one of my biggest influences. She's one of my favorite people, and she's very much a source of endless support in teaching each and every day. We talk often and mostly every day, and I'm always asking her stuff. And she just is a coach and a friend and a cheerleader and just amazing. And, I've learned about and honed my craft through her examples in my life. Minding your self-care. That's why I a super supporter and want people to feel good and indulge and to respecting the earth and allowing it to nourish you. I've learned about gardening and planting and all of those things in my home, in my upbringing. And, just being a kind, genuine human being. And she's always allowed me to be creative and express myself and have a chance to figure out who I am. I mean, that's valuable and I appreciate it so much. And so I'm kind of going to cheat, but I want to kind of do a twofer for my next person because I want to say two girlfriends of mine, Rashina Johnson and Jamila Richmond. The question really immediately brought to mind how lucky I've been after in starting and undertaking this entrepreneurial journey. And I've been able to secure friends who are also business owners. That's a unique set of issues and grievances and not so pleasant things in business that we face. And sometimes even the most sympathetic, non-entrepreneurial ears can't really give analysis or problem solving techniques. It can only just be, oh, they're there and comforting on a not deep level. And these two women, they always add depth and substance to the air when I speak with them. And they make it very easy to be candid about straddling the fine line between business and private life or your personal day-to-day life for Black women entrepreneurs. That's a specific group of people. And again, I'm just lucky to be able to count on them and talk to them simultaneously about business and personal things. And they're both just very super tuned in. And they inspire me to work hard and work well and work with joy and passion. And I'm just very blessed to have been cosmically linked with all three of those women. And I love and respect them in business and beyond. And a shameless quick plug, but by the way, Rashina is the owner of Akoma Reiki and Healing. You can find her on Instagram. She's at Akoma Reiki. She's an energy worker and a holistic doula and is another co-founder of the Mystic Moon Collective. Jamila owns Vibrant Alchemy, which is a metaphysical boutique, and also Aria the Mermaid. She's also an esthetician, herbalist, aromatherapy, and massage therapist. So they're also outstanding, wonderful business owners, and please support them. That's just a very, very tip of the iceberg on who I consider to be super influential in my life. I have a much longer list, but I'll spare you guys the rest.
Well, thank you so much, Tameko, for that sharing that your mom is a influencer. one of your influencers, and then giving a huge shout out to Black women entrepreneurs.
Oh, I know a ton. I wish I could list everybody I know. There's a ton, and we're a big market, and we got to support each other. So thank you, and thank you for allowing me the ability to share. I want to uplift all of my sisters, and we're here, and just keep on pushing ahead and making sure that we're seen and we're heard. And, I strongly believe in that. So, yeah, thank you for allowing me to answer that question.
Well, absolutely. And I'm glad that you have given voice to something which I personally believe that we as a society, as African Americans, Black Americans, the African diasporas, however you want to define us, I think that the majority of us has bought the myth that the media has sold us in reference to we do not work together. And as I've been doing the podcast and reaching out to African Americans, men and women, they have been extremely supportive, and give a shout out to, I'm in Las Vegas, but the Detroit connection. I'm not from Detroit, but this is a group that have relocated to Las Vegas and they support each other. So I think that we as individuals, as a community, we have to support one another, and we have to stop saying that we don't support each other and start supporting each other. And I think the media wants to continue to have a divide amongst us. So anytime they can give credence or a conversation or a voice to negativity, then they will. So I think that, yes, we can always do better. It's always room for improvement. We always want to strive for excellence, but I want to just give you your kudos for actually letting us know that, and that's what Black Entrepreneur is all about. This podcast is about shining the light on Black entrepreneurs, because we are alluring, we are precious gems, and we should shine the light on what is positive, and that is what's going to uplift our community. So again, I would love to, we'll have further dialogue offline in reference to other women that we can bring on.
I can't wait. I can't wait for that. I have a ton, so I'm absolutely excited to share, and I absolutely agree with you. And again, thank you, because just a quick aside, but I'm just super touched, and I feel like I have to say these things because I've only received open arm support and encouragement and knowledge and education and access and contacts. The doors have opened to and for me to really push forward with this business, with Cocoa Butter Mothers. And it's because there is a vast network. There is a deep network that is here to support the new entrepreneur. Even the seasoned one, there's a well-established network. And just because you don't see it, don't think that it's not here. And definitely work your way to finding how to tap in and tune in, because you really probably don't have to work as hard as you may think. And I think that it's important work to be shared, and we have to talk about it and highlight it. And this, again, makes me very excited to be having this conversation with you and just, shedding our little bit of conversational light on the matter and getting the word out.
Absolutely. Tameko, talk to a younger you. What advice would you give to a younger you?
I would say don't let your social awkwardness get the best of you ever. But share your feelings and creativity and ideas, and intentionally connect with your community and peers and family always. I think it's that simple.
And what is a technology tool or a technology platform that is a must-have for you in managing your business?
Basically, the whole entirety of the internet. My business is internet-based, and I am only ever tangibly present when I'm either vending or through one of my stockists. And even then, I'm likely not showing the full range, or that everything that I create and make is not accessible. So the internet allows us the ability to reach far and reach wide. And I think that's so cool and empowering. And I like that I can receive international orders and fulfill them. And I've fulfilled orders to deployed military servicemen and women. I get emails and DMs and instant messages and things from people all across the country. And just saying that they support me and that they're here for me and they cheering me on. And the internet, it will never get old, that feeling. And, the internet just really creates these bridges. And all of that stuff simply leads into expanded communications, possible business opportunities, chances to establish partnerships with people, or creating an event with someone, or somehow collaborating or sharing information, just the simple dissemination of information and the ease of it via the internet. You're able to, on the go, inform yourself about stuff, get tuned in, share events, tag everybody on your Facebook, whatever it is that you're doing. And just the internet is really great for allowing people to connect in a large and vast way. And I just really appreciate that, for being able to talk and share and do things like the podcast and be able to rebroadcast to so many people that I probably would never, ever have the privilege of physically meeting, simply because we don't live near each other. And I really value the importance and the power of it when you're using it as a tool in a not creepy dark web type of way.
So are you using all social media platforms, or is it one specific social media platform? Because you mentioned the internet, which we know is very vast and very wide. Is there a social media platform that take precedent that you're consistently on, or is it equally you're on all social media platforms?
I definitely not equally, because I definitely will be very transparent with all of you about, I'm a one-woman show. So, a lot of times I'm having to look at the mechanics of how and where and what I'm doing to fulfill some aspect of business, whatever that may be. And when it comes to like posting and being active and engaging online, I like to do a linked situation. So mostly I am doing a lot of engaging on Instagram, and very equally with Facebook, especially because they integrate well on the business side of things. You can sponsor posts, and there's all this analytical data and all of these things that you can actually use as tools between the two. And so from there, I can auto post. So for instance, when I post on Instagram, which is the quickest, easiest, funnest way to kind of engage on the go, I can take little pictures. There's the new video features, and you can live feed and all this kind of stuff. It's trendy enough to be popular in a relevant way as far as preferences for the way people use their social media accounts from there. So when I post things on there, I can then link it to post the same thing essentially on my Tumblr, which I do have, and I have a Twitter account. I'm not necessarily creating different content amongst the different social media networks, but I absolutely try to make sure at least I'm posting something that is relevant across the platforms to reach whatever audience I may not be reaching, if Tumblr versus Twitter, for example. But yeah, Instagram for sure and Facebook for sure. They're just like the best ways to engage.
So, Tameko, let's switch gears and talk about risk or failure. What is the worst moment in business, and what was the takeaway?
Again, being super transparent. First of all, there's a lot of moments in business where you're going to not be so pleased, and it's not going to like be perfect or turn out how you thought. And, I've had plenty of like cry-worthy moments. I don't think that there's just one particular defining moment, but sometimes the journey is going to be upsetting. So I guess I'd say some of the things that I guess irk me the most or bother me the most or like affect me the deepest is when I am super excited about like a product, event, whatever I'm expressing or trying to creatively share, or something that I'm just so over the moon about. And then when it comes into the tangible existence and I'm trying to actually sell it or get people to come to it or whatever it is, it may not sell at all, or nobody will seem to care as much as I expected, or basically a flop. And I tell you, it's disappointing and it sucks, and you got to pout a bit and get through the emotional aspect of it and honor that part of it. But also, too, the best part about your question is, okay, so what was the takeaway, though? And I feel like going through that type of thing is humbling, because it basically kind of makes you look at the situation with a twofold realization, where you're either going to find the workaround, reset, and try it again, rebox it, rebrand it. That's why people do that kind of thing. Repackage it, come at it from another fresher angle, or rather consider that you may need to shelve it or can it and move on. When that happens, you got to look at basically reviewing tape. Go back through it. Don't ignore it. Look at what you thought you could have done better, analyze it. And you have to process, pardon me, but I believe the process is important because it makes you take stock and become accountable for remembering that a lot of business is about maintaining like a fluidity. That fluidity is basically it can serve as a catalyst to your innovation in improvisation. You need to be challenged, and in failure or when you have risk involved, it kind of tempers you and makes you consider the pros and cons and makes you kind of like not always be emotionally driven and really take in the stats and analytical data, Sometimes you would do best to let stuff go, and you have to let that sink in and make peace with that and move ahead, and you'll be the better business entity for it.
So, Tameko, share with our audience, what book would you recommend and why?
Oh, lately I haven't read a new book on business or something related to entrepreneurial things. I've been really vested a lot into reading birthing books and books about mothers and mothering and things more related to the doula side of business of my work and things. And so I also have guilty pleasure reading. I love romance novels, and I am reading Game of Thrones, the whole series. I don't really have a good hard-hitting book to suggest, but maybe I can flip it around and ask you guys to send me some. That would be great. That way I can get a nice, good book list going.
And one of the things that I want to share on that, I think that question is not put out there to say that you have to be reading an entrepreneurial book or a business book. It is to say, what are we reading? And I think that's great because you do have mother entrepreneurs. You have women that are wanting to be entrepreneurs. And who knows, that is a connection piece, the fact that you're reading birthing and mothering books. I think that our audience can appreciate that. So thank you for that. And we're going to put that out there if you have some books that you would like Tameko to read.
I'm open to everything. I really, really have a diverse preference in my books and in my music. And I'm a lifetime and lifelong bookworm, and I love a lot of things. So I absolutely would love some books from you guys. That would be really great.
So thank you for that. If you conducted this interview, what is the one question that you wish I would have asked? And I want you to not only ask the question, but I want you to answer it.
I really am into logistics and examples of prioritizing and goal setting. I worked for 10 plus years as an administrative professional before starting Cocoa Butter Mothers. So I love those kind of details and builds. So I don't necessarily have a specific question, but maybe things along the line of how do I manage to literally go about a day, maybe defining what a day looks like, or even on average a week, as far as what kind of processes and day-to-day workings of business, what does that look like? And not necessarily being literal either with itinerary breakdown, but what kind of things are you doing that's not just the pictures and the pretty part, the end results? What other things does that entail? And so, for example, I know you asked to kind of answer that question. I would say something about, okay, so, I mentioned I love working for myself. So I essentially am conducting several businesses, right? I drive Uber and Lyft, and then I manage Cocoa Butter Mothers, and then I also work with the collective. So, a day may consist of managing time for getting up and doing social media related things or computer based things, the emails and correspondence and catching up on any things and happenings with social media and maybe posting pictures or getting posts ready for the day, things like that. And then actively going to take some time and go hang out in Uber or Lyft and drive around and, do that a little bit and then come back. And so maybe I have set up some business calls, needing to be able to set up appointments with people, or maybe we're having a podcast interview or a phone conference, things of that nature. And, that can look like a few hours depending upon how I've stacked my schedule for the day. Also, too, I make time for, a lot of my local customers. I like to add the extra personal touch of, hey, if we can coordinate, wouldn't mind, or it's something that you would really love. I don't mind meeting people and dropping off their orders physically. So, I make space and time for that, too. And in fact, I actually have that going on tomorrow. That's something on my calendar that I'm making time to go hand deliver an awesome order. And it's fun for me, and customers really love it, and it creates a relationship and loyalty. And so, I'm able to build out and alter my schedule. And so sometimes in the evening on the same day, maybe there's some social networking to be doing, some event that someone else is hosting, or supporting others within my community and the work that all of these amazing people that I know that live right around me going to support their projects or their events or their speaking engagements or whatever that looks like. So days can be chock full of output of energy and being to and fro. But also too, I own that time and I like that and I'm proud of it. And I think it's good to be able to have control of my time in the ways that I do. So that way I can try to manage to fit everything, there's not a formula to it, but I try to make it fit.
So, Tameko, share with our audience a parting piece of advice you want to offer.
A parting piece of advice. You guys, trust yourselves, follow your passions. Don't let outside influence keep you from investing in yourself, asking yourself deep questions, challenging yourself. Believe in the power of positive thinking and staying mindful of the energy that you put out and the energy that you surround yourself with. And know with assuredness that you deserve to feel good and do well.
So now we come to the part of our interview. It's called Fun Facts Lightning Round.
Yay.
Some very quick questions that I want you to give very quick answers.
Okay.
So are you ready for the lightning round?
I hope so. Let's do it.
Okay. The last movie you saw?
I'm not a super movie buff, but I did see Marvel's Doctor Strange, and it was very awesome.
You relax doing what?
I love playing PlayStation 4. I love Skyrim in particular. Yay to all the people that know what that is. And being out in nature. I love hiking and yeah.
And your favorite singer or rapper?
I cannot answer that question. I love music so much, and I don't think I can ever just pick just one. So I will not answer that question respectfully.
Your favorite dance song?
Oh, again, music-related questions bring me a great amount of stress because I feel disloyal if I say any one person. But I actually will answer this one because what jumped into my head immediately, there's a group, I believe that they're from the UK. I don't think that they're based in the United States, but they're called Subtract, and it's featuring Sampha. It's a song called Something Goes Right, and I just love it so much. It's one of my all-time favorites, and it makes me want to dance. I will actually definitely recommend that song. It's so awesome.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Avocados and eggs. I love both of them at the same time a lot, but individually too.
And your favorite month?
I don't really have a favorite, but I will say my favorite season is fall. Fall is the best. It smells so good and crisp and spicy, and it's full of the best food and fashion and sports at any given time during the year.
Thank you, Tameko, so much for playing the lightning round. What is the best way for our audience to connect with you?
Oh, gosh. Yes, guys. I love social media. I'm totally plugged in. You heard my answers earlier. So absolutely via social media and email. On Instagram, you can reach me at Cocoa Butter Mothers. It's COCOABUTTERMOTHERS. That's a mouthful. On Twitter, at Cocoa Butter Mama. So same spelling, just put mama, M-A-M-A, instead of mothers. On Facebook, it'd be / Cocoa Butter Mothers Online. And my email is info@cocoabuttermothers.com.
Thank you so much, Tameko. We so appreciate you sharing on Black Entrepreneur Experience. If we can do anything to support your business, don't hesitate to reach out to us. And that is a wrap. We just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.